Carrie's training week 1. I decided to make a series of videos to show the story of me and my horse. I've owned her since she was a baby, and we've had plenty of challenges. As you can see, this is me trying to work with her a little bit, just to get her lunging properly and listening to commands, and Donkey is helpful, as ever. But she's always been a challenging horse. She's now 13. But the last thing to happen before this video is that I fell off. And I wasn't quite sure why. And I was by myself. So I decided to start recording things. Recording documents. See how she's behaving. How am I behaving. To kind of see what happens. As you can see, Donkey doesn't make things easy. He likes to harass people a little bit and wants all the attention to himself. But it's fine because lunging can be pretty boring anyway. So in this video I have a bad leg, which is why I can't really do a lot. But only recently before this she'd started to learn how to canter. I know, after 12 years. She's only just learning how to actually canter properly without bucking. Because that was another time that I fell off many years ago. So I've decided, rather than getting more people involved again, just to try things by myself. When working with her, she tends to be quite lazy. But I'm trying to change that now and get her to focus more. There we go, see? She's learning how to canter properly, get on the right leg, be calm about it. Donkey's not very impressed. He ended up becoming a package deal with Carrie when she got sent off to be broken in. So when we moved her closer to home, the guy who broke her in let us keep him for a little bit just so she got settled, and we all fell in love with him, so he ended up staying. See, he just needs all the attention to himself. We've started working with him as well, which is nice. But yeah, as you can see, she gets pretty distracted. She's not that interested. But she's been trying more lately to do the right thing. You can see she knows she needs to canter, but she's just not very good at those transitions. I use a lot of vocal commands as well to try and get her to understand and to know when to change transitions. And she knows, but if she finds it difficult, she'll often refuse. But that's alright for now, as long as it's not coming out in malicious behaviour or naughty behaviour. Then we don't mind too much. You see she's a little bit chubby as well, so we're also working on getting her a little bit fitter. It was quite a traumatic year as well, actually, because she got very ill at the start of 2019, and it was questionable whether she was going to make it or not. That's the behaviour she normally has. She'll kind of buck because she's not sure what to do, and she'll try and balance herself. One of the other issues she's had for a long time is being bridled. It started as a baby that she just started panicking with it, and again we got people to help her. And you can bridle her, but it was never really consistent. I tried bitless as well, but apparently she really isn't a huge fan of the Micklin bridle. Personally, I think it's wonderful, but she decided this year that she doesn't like it. So, as you can see, we just try and take our time, take it slow, and she's not terribly fussed about it anymore. But when I started working with her with a bit this year, she'd always freak out just seeing the bit. So we try and use treats as positive reinforcement, but I wouldn't recommend necessarily because they can get a little bit nippy. And you can see Donkey also insists on getting his fair share of treats. So one of the biggest issues she had with the bridle was dropping it. And that used to be the biggest panicky thing. She'd throw her head up and she'd rush backwards, and you can see she's still not comfortable with it. But she tries, and she'd say, but what we're trying to do then is not give her any force, not make her feel like she's trapped, and let her figure it out herself. A third issue, I suppose, that I had with her was the saddle. She always used to be good when she was younger with the saddle, and it's not a huge issue, but she can get a little bit tense. But the other thing that's quite bad for her is having the girth done up. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing what I did with dropping the rope, but I don't like to keep her restricted, because I think if she wants to do what she wants to do, fine, but she knows what she's supposed to do. I kind of sort myself out, take time. I've still got my bad leg here, which is why I'm a little bit uncoordinated and not sure what to do with things. But it took me a long time to find a girth that she accepted, because what she'd do is, as it got tighter, and when I say tighter, I mean it's still not tight, it would kind of tickle her, and she would freak out and just have an explosively bucking fit. So that was something that made me a bit nervous for a while. But then we got recommended this girth, and it's fantastic. I think it's the Pro Light girth, and she loves it. She was a different horse when we first put it on, and I would just do it up gently, one hole at a time each side. Take our time, and again, to start with, she'd get treats every time that she'd accept it and not react badly, to kind of keep it as a positive thing. You see I've got the lunge whip there because she's very nervous about having the saddle on, and it's quite good because when she's nervous she'll slow down. However, I want her to feel as though she can trust what I'm asking and know that she's fine. So take it steady, ask her to trot, and try and encourage her to keep moving forward. Although she's a little reluctant, she still does it. But you can see that she's more than happy to stop and go into a walk. I try and keep her positive and keep encouraging her, even if the trot's quite slow, just so that she knows that as long as she's doing what I'm asking to some extent and not misbehaving, then there's not a problem. So this was an interesting thing. I kind of just planned to work with her quickly that day and just get her to do some pole work. And these are just some plastic piping, and she just decided she was not having any of it. And she just dragged me to go into the shelter, which is her safe space, and she feels like she doesn't have to work if she's in there. She's never won this battle, but she still goes there every time. The ground was still a little bit slippy, so I didn't want to do proper pole work, and still had a bad leg from the fall. So I decided just to calm her down a little bit first. She is a mare, so you have to expect the unexpected. But see, she's developed nicer canter transitions. So we need to work on the muscle, but it's nice to see that she can relatively comfortably change, walk, trot, canter, trot. Everything's always more interesting than what I'm telling her to do. She'll always pay more attention to what's going on the road, and there we go. That's that explosive behaviour that she exhibits sometimes. But we don't believe in punishment. We don't want to tell her off for it. We just stop, calm down, try again until she gets it. I think at this point I decided to drop the whip because she already knew that I wanted it to go faster. The whip's only usually used as that sign of encouragement of this is when you're supposed to change lead. But I thought we'd give it a shot without it, try and keep things calm. And as you can see, she kind of got it, not greatly, but it's still a huge progress and no bucking. She did what I asked. And then she gets a nice pat and a job well done. So that's when we head back over to the poles to try again with no running off to the shelter this time. It was quite a windy day, as you could see, so often horses aren't a huge fan when it's windy, and evidently she proved that theory right. She's always had a strong personality, but it's something I admire most about her. Because when she figures out what she's doing and she does it right, she wants to make you happy. See, she was glad she did it, but she also has the tendency to think if she does it once, it's by accident, and it is completely impossible to repeat that thing again. You can see she's just gone over it now. She's like, no, not a chance. So if it's possible, I always try and do it with her so that she knows it is possible, because a lot of horse training is more beneficial if you have another horse with you that can show the horse that you're training what they're supposed to do. In this situation, we don't. We just have Donkey, and he's more rebellious than anyone. So if I can help show her that I'm with her, and that if I can do it, she can do it, then she's usually more willing. But obviously that'll get more challenging when we try and do jumps and stuff, because I'm useless at jumping. So by doing it calmly and walk, I'm just trying to show her it's not a jump, there's nothing to be worried about. So you can do this by yourself. Although you can see she's still indicating she would like to go back to the shelter and not really do anything. That was my fault then for not being in the right position. But that's okay, we're not making a big deal out of it. We're just saying, okay, you don't always have to do those kinds of things. And then she does it, and that's wonderful.